Good morning, and welcome back to America's Leaders from Coast to Coast, the 250th Anniversary Edition. Today is day 71 of the year, Thursday, March 12, 2026. I'm Stephen.
And I'm Leah.
We are heading out to the beautiful Southwest today, the land of enchantment. New Mexico. We are looking at District 3, which is an incredibly massive, geographically sprawling district. It covers the northern and eastern halves of the state, including Santa Fe, Taos, and significant portions of the Navajo Nation. And today, we are profiling a lawmaker whose family has lived in this region for 17 generations. We are talking about Democrat Teresa Leger Fernández.
Stephen, Representative Leger Fernández has a background that is so deeply tied to the history of New Mexico. She was born in Las Vegas, New Mexico, not Nevada, the original Las Vegas in New Mexico. She went to Yale, she got her law degree from Stanford, and then she came right back home to be a public interest lawyer. For 30 years, she was in the trenches. She worked with Native American tribes, she defended voting rights, and she worked to protect the ancient acequias, which are the traditional communal irrigation canals in the state. She was a grassroots fighter long before she ever ran for Congress in 2020.
And in the 119th Congress, covering 2025 and 2026, she has amassed an incredible amount of institutional power. She is one of only 4 Democrats sitting on the powerful House Rules Committee, meaning she gets to shape almost every major bill before it hits the floor. She is the ranking member of the Indian and Insular Affairs Subcommittee. And incredibly importantly, she was just elected to be the chair of the Democratic Women's Caucus, which is leading a record-breaking 96 female lawmakers this term.
She is an absolute powerhouse, and she uses all of those platforms to aggressively defend the most vulnerable people in her district. Let's look at what she did just last month, in February of 2026. She partnered with Senator Chuck Schumer to introduce Virginia's Law. This is a landmark piece of legislation named after Virginia Roberts Giuffre, an Epstein survivor. The bill completely eliminates the federal statute of limitations for survivors of sex trafficking, allowing them to seek justice no matter how much time has passed.
And just days later, she introduced the Tribal Warrant Fairness Act alongside Republican Tom Cole. This is a critical bill for Native communities. It explicitly grants the United States Marshals Service the authority to execute arrest warrants on behalf of tribal police. Leger Fernández has been a massive advocate for addressing the missing and murdered Indigenous women crisis, and this bill gives tribal law enforcement the federal backup they need to search for missing children.
But Stephen, we really need to talk about the breaking news happening today, because she is currently locked in a massive, real-time battle with the Trump administration's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, and it centers right on her district.
Yes. Leger Fernández has been sounding the alarm that the administration's aggressive federal staffing cuts are literally putting lives at risk. Specifically, she pointed to the Gallup Indian Medical Center in her district. Because of recent federal hiring freezes and cuts, the hospital is facing a 100% vacancy rate for on-site ultrasound professionals, and they are severely short on nurses. Patient care is being dangerously delayed.
So Leger Fernández and the New Mexico Senate delegation went on the absolute offensive. They demanded answers from HHS Secretary RFK Jr. And just today, March 12th, they announced a massive oversight victory. They successfully forced HHS to deploy a senior advisor directly to the Gallup Indian Medical Center to witness the crisis firsthand. She is refusing to let Washington bureaucrats make cuts on a spreadsheet without seeing the devastating impact it has on tribal health.
And she is fighting those exact same cuts when it comes to veterans. Just 3 days ago, on March 9th, she co-led a massive effort demanding that VA Secretary Doug Collins reverse a new policy that slashed the reimbursement rates for veterans' home health care services in New Mexico by nearly 20%. She argued that the administration was prioritizing funding for their new war in Iran over taking care of elderly veterans at home.
And she backed that up with her votes. Last week, on March 5th, she voted yes on the War Powers Resolution to try and force the removal of U.S. troops from unauthorized hostilities in Iran, releasing a statement saying, quote, "Republicans always find the money for bombs." She is totally unafraid to clash with the White House.
She is an incredibly fierce advocate. And with no Democratic primary opponent this year, she is completely secure in her D+12 district. She has the absolute freedom to be the progressive anchor of the Southwest.
The civil rights lawyer who fought for the acequias.
The caucus chair defending the tribal nations.
That is Representative Teresa Leger Fernández.
That is our profile for New Mexico's 3rd District. Stay tuned for our next profile. Please note, AI assists in the creation of this podcast from pointedwords.com. And remember, better pointed words than pointed swords.